Story 1. I am a teen female, screamed at my parents for trying to pay off the loan my brother 19 had taken from the bank to purchase a new car that he can't pay back. I know they're trying to help my brother get on his feet now that he's left home. Still, being a pilot has been my dream since I was very little. The training for it is very costly, so every little piece of money I've made I've been putting into a bank account to save. I've even started working 2 jobs of babysitting and helping out in a local cafe. 2 weeks ago, my brother bought himself a brand new car with a loan from the bank, and now he's telling my parents he can't pay it back. He has no job, and my parents pay for his college accommodation. When I heard this, I didn't think much about it and offered to bring his CV to a few places in town to see if he could get a job. Last night, my parents told me they would take the money from my account to pay for his loan, and I was furious with them. I screamed and called them idiots and said that they didn't care about me at all, because they never supported my dreams. I'm the only girl in my family with a younger and older brother. I haven't spoken to my parents since then. All my hard work has gone down the drain, and I will never get to accomplish my dream. My relationship with my brother was good before this, and I know that his bad financial decisions were not intended to harm me, but I'm still angry with him and my parents for behaving like this. Am I the idiot for screaming at my parents for trying to use the college funds I earned myself to pay off my brother's debt? Edit. I'm still determining how my brother got the loan, but my parents co-signed. And yes, my parents have access to my bank account, as I'm not 18. The money in this account is entirely my own savings, as my parents said they would contribute half of what I'd save by the end, and no, they're not making my brother sell the car as he needs it to get around. Absolutely. Not the idiot. What the actual heck is wrong with your parents? You worked for and saved that on your own. I am so sorry and ashamed on your parents' behalf. You are more mature than your brother and parents combined. Start hiding the money you make where they can't find it. You will go far, Opie. This is a setback. But with your determination, you will rise above all these idiots in life. My heart goes out to you. My wife's mother also stole her hard-earned money from her pre-college jobs and any gifts she had from her grandparents, etc. Always with a lie it would be paid back. 30+ years later, not a penny. Oh, and refused to supply the tax information required for the FAFSA, a prerequisite for almost any financial aid in college. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. My parents stole my college money in week 1 of college. The college had the raw come to my room and tell me my parents had canceled checks for both school and the dorm and I had to move out. I rushed to my bank and my accounts had been closed. Both claimed this never happened until their divorce, and then both admitted it happened and blamed the other one. The idea that we can't have a bank account as a teen without an adult on it is complete BS. This happens way too often. Honey, I am so sorry this is happening to you. Geez, I can't imagine having parents like that. That's literally stealing from you, Op. Your brother's happiness and livelihood are not your responsibility. He got himself into that situation. He needs to figure out how to get a job quickly to pay that loan. Do not put any more money into that account. If you have it directly deposited, stop it and hold on to it. Put it somewhere they can't find it. Opie, you need to tell someone else, another relative, a grandparent, someone at school. Someone else needs to know, please. You earned that money. Your brother is an idiot for buying a car without a job. I'm not sure how he even got the bank loan. I hope it's not too late. My husband, 35, and I, 27, are married, and we have a girl, kindergartner, and I'm pregnant, first trimester. About 6 months ago, my husband discovered he had a daughter, a young teen from a previous relationship. He knew nothing about this. He was dating a girl who was toxic and lied about birth control to baby trap him. When he said that he didn't want anything with her, she said she was going to get rid of it. Well, right now my husband has met up with his daughter. She's also met his family and me and our girl. The girl doesn't live with her mom, she lives with her maternal grandparents. So the other day she brought up the idea of my husband having custody over her so she could live with us. I didn't say anything at the moment, but when we were alone, I told my husband I was not okay with that. We have our plans, and suddenly adding a young teen will complicate things. At first, he didn't understand my side, but then he agreed. However, my mother-in-law said that it's not appropriate for his daughter to live with her grandparents when she has her dad. She told me that I needed to accept his daughter, but I said that I didn't marry a man with a child. I married a man with no children. We have our plans, and logically, we don't even know this girl enough to allow her at our home full-time. Other people have parented her, and her mom wasn't good. We can have this conversation in a year when we know her and her family better, and we settled with our new baby. My mother-in-law still thinks I'm an idiot. My husband sided with me again, so now she thinks I even want to cause a fight between them. She went around our family telling everyone that I'd forbidden my husband to have contact with his daughter. So I called her up and told her she was a noisy witch, which made everything worse. Now he also fought with his mother and other people in his family. I think that I've caused unnecessary trauma. Maybe I should have just ignored mother-in-law. Small clarification: I'm not refusing to spend time with her. I'm refusing to let her move in with us right now. Let's spend some time with her as a family and get to know her better, so she can get to know us as well. I don't want to rush that process. We had a paternity test done already. She's not unsafe with her grandparents. Her grandparents and her are no contact with her mother. I agree she shouldn't move in with you now, but not for the reasons you gave. It would not be in her best interest to live with people who she barely knows and who barely know her. It would be disorienting for her to be suddenly living by your rules, and you would both probably have a hard time figuring out the best way to parent her. If she were in a bad situation with her grandparents or in foster care, that would be different. But it seems like there's no good reason to rush. Now, where I disagree with you and think you're being an idiot is, I didn't marry a man with a kid. You also didn't marry a man with cancer, a man with depression, a man who has suddenly lost his job, etc. Crap happens. This happened to both of you, and you need to rise to the occasion and be there for him and your stepdaughter. There can be quite a lot of joy in this if you choose for there to be. Exactly. Lady, your plans do not override the care of a child who's been neglected, intentionally or unintentionally, by both parents. Your husband has a legal and ethical obligation to be a parent to this kid. But I said that I didn't marry a man with a child, I married a man with no children. You did marry a man with a child, even if you didn't know it then. If you cannot handle that change in your husband's situation without encouraging neglect of a child, then you shouldn't be with him. You are the idiot, Opie. She's just a kid. Have some empathy for her. I have an infant daughter. My mother-in-law has been here easily 30+ times, and the only thing she wants to help with is either changing my daughter's diaper or bottle feeding her. We made a rule. No one changes our daughter but us. But the bottle issue. I strictly breastfeed. I have a pump. I do not use it. I have no reason to use it. She doesn't need to bottle feed my baby, but it gets her irritated that I refuse. So mother-in-law came here yesterday afternoon, just showed up, no call ahead, nothing. So she was in the area. I was making dinner. She asks, "What are we having?" I tell her, "I only made enough for us, so I'm assuming you're eating whatever is at your place." Because I'm tired of going without my portion because she shows up and eats without even checking if I've eaten my portions out of the fridge because she didn't know it was mine. She says, "Wow, okay," and walks off. She says to my husband, "Guess there's not enough to feed me," in a passive-aggressive tone. Well, my daughter had been fussing for 5 minutes at this point, and my husband was trying to soothe her while I finished dinner. We alternate nights. My mother-in-law says, "Here, I'll take the baby while you finish dinner. Claire can pump real quick so I can get the baby settled." I'm so tired of this argument with her, so in the heat of the moment and being angry she was here anyway. I slammed the spatula on the counter and said, "You're not feeding my kid. I'm not pumping for you. Bring it up again and I will be going no contact. And you'll have very little to do with your granddaughter's life at all." I then take the baby, pass the spatula to my husband, walk into the back room and lock myself away. I could hear her arguing with my husband in the kitchen, and then a door slammed. Well, my husband came to the bedroom, knocked and said, "I kicked her out." And then I heard his footsteps walking away. I come out, and he's angrily finishing dinner, so I just don't say anything. Well, he turns and says, "I will have you know that I'm done with this BS. You don't want her changing the baby but feeding her. Holy cow, you two act like damn children, and I'm sick of being in the middle of it. Is it really that much of a problem to pump so she can feed her one single time so I don't have to hear it?" He then aggressively slams my plate down in front of me, storms off to his office, and slams the door. He's since apologized and said he's just done with it, and says he's going no contact with his mother, but his whole attitude has changed. He's distant now. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot is literally double work for you to pump, and then feed the baby. Tell your husband that this grandma says he's an idiot, just like his mother. He should be on your side and tell his mom to shut up. You don't want to use a bottle. End of discussion. I never suggested my daughter-in-law use a pump, not my damn business. I never stop him for a visit uninvited. Never. Tell your husband that if it's so important to him that his mommy feeds your child, then he can pump the milk out of his breasts. Pumping is a pain in the butt and boobs. I would never do it to entertain an adult. That is something you do when necessary to nourish your child. Plus, they are both idiots. Your baby is starving, so you should let her starve for half an hour, while you pump so his mommy can feel super important. How is that the best choice for the child? Hubby needs to man up and quit whining. He needs to deal with his bushy mom. It's time for him to get a spine and lay down new rules. Mother-in-law does not come into your home unless she's invited to visit. Inviting herself doesn't count. The entitlement on her part is mind-boggling. You are under no obligation to pump if you don't want to. It's a major hassle if nothing else. She's trying too hard to use your child as her do-over baby. It's so obvious. Growing up, my wife was parentified by her parents, who expected her to do everything in their house so they could work. She was basically a live-in nanny, cook, maid, tutor, and gardener from the time she was 12 until she left for college. She had to hide her intelligence from her mom and dad and apply for scholarships and college admission without them knowing. It took a while for their relationship to heal, but it still affected her. I, on the other hand, grew up on a working ranch. I had chores and lots of them, but my time was my own after they were done. We've been married for 13 years, and we have 2 kids that we agreed would do chores. The thing is, though, she doesn't enforce the chores. If the kids don't clean up, she doesn't make them put down whatever they're playing with and make them clean up. If my son leaves his dirty dishes on the couch, she won't make him put them away. We've had several discussions about this. The last one, after I had to get stitches, one of the kids left a plate on the couch, instead of taking it to the sink when they were done with it. I didn't notice and sat on it. It broke and I had to get stitches on my butt. I told her that she needed to make the kids do their chores. She said she didn't want them to feel about us the way she felt about her parents. I said there was a huge difference between being an unpaid servant, cleaning up after yourself, and helping put groceries away. Our kids don't have to curry horses or help with cattle. I had no problem being the bad guy, so I started making the kids do their chores. My wife hated it. I discovered that she began to do their chores, so I would think they did them. Fine, I stopped doing mine too. Not the yard work and stuff, just my part of the housework. She works from home, and she has a home office where she sees clients. So if the house is a mess, it reflects badly on her. So she's been doing everything, and she's angry at me for being so petty. I don't think it's petty to want to raise useful humans. I don't want my son or daughter to not be a full partner in their future relationships. My wife has now told the kids that they have to help. She's mad that I manipulated the situation to force her hand. Like I said, it's not too much for kids to clean up after themselves and help with housework. They're both within 10 years of going away to school, and I want them to be civilized. Dude, sorry about your butt, you are not the idiot. For sure, cleaning up after yourself isn't a chore, it's a basic behavior that should be ingrained. Your wife is turning your kids into slobs with no self-discipline. This is going to be so damaging to their future. Your wife is being harmful to them and you. She needs to unpack her childhood trauma since it's clearly affecting how she raises the kids, and it's making her overcompensate, which doesn't help the kids in the long run. She's the idiot here, a traumatized one. She's not doing these kids any favors as they grow up. Not being able to clean up after yourself will be detrimental in the long run. No one wants a partner whose mommy never made them lift a finger. My mom was like Op's wife, but a single mom. We didn't do jack, and she busted her butt 24/7. When I was 23, I had to call her and ask how to clean a toilet. She was quiet for a moment, then said, "Yeah, this is on me." I feel so behind in life skills even now. I microwave all my food, etc. My instincts say Op was too harsh, but I don't know, whatever it takes for those kids not to end up like me, I guess. That said, I feel for the wife a lot here. She deserves a break she isn't giving herself. I hope she can learn to internalize that and help her kids grow up to be functional adults in the process. My daughter, a teen, is very smart and doesn't treat it lightly. She pushes herself as far as she can. She's in all the app classes her school offers. She takes 3 electives: social studies, economics, and computer science, and 1 self-study elective, law. My husband is a lawyer, so he helps her. She takes 2 second languages outside of the mandatory English one. English is the second language in my country. She takes Italian and Russian. I'm very proud of her for doing all of this, and I talk about it a lot. This has never been a problem until recently at a family dinner. I was telling my mom about my daughter already, and that she's not that special. I was shocked because my sister had always been my daughter's biggest supporter. I don't remember her saying one bad thing about my daughter before this. My mom tried to calm my sister down, but her face was red, which was a big tell about how mad she was. She scolded me for bragging about my daughter's accomplishments when I knew how her daughter had just been kicked out. Her words from app math, for a few too many bad grades. I didn't know about it, she never told me, but she told my mom since she was on her side. I apologized because I wanted to keep the peace, but I guess it was obvious that I was still confused because she just kept scolding me. After a minute of sitting there, my husband just excused us and we left. I've been getting texts from relatives berating me for insulting my niece like that. I'm so confused, but no one listens when I say I don't know. I'm starting to feel really bad, and I think I should apologize again and talk to my sister. But I need to know. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here. He got through the family grapevine that your niece is struggling in school, but the news didn't reach you. That's not your fault, and your sister shouldn't blame you for hitting a nerve you didn't know was there. At the same time, I understand that you're proud of your daughter, but you must stop bragging about her constantly. It's obviously become excessive, so your family is lashing out. She's more than just her accomplishment, you're more than just her parent. What have you been up to lately? Whatever it is, why don't you talk about that? I have a feeling that Op is too busy talking about her own kid to ever genuinely ask how her niece is doing, or doesn't listen when her sister shares. Little advice. Pay closer attention to your own kid. She's going to burn out. Check on your daughter. Does she feel the need to do this to earn your love? Sometimes kids work overly hard for grades to feel validation and love from their parents. Sometimes kids work overly hard for grades to feel validation and love from their parents. Thanks for listening.